morning, and thank you all for coming out today to cover this press availability. We are pleased to be joined today by FEMA Administrator Pete Gaynor. I want to thank him and all of our federal partners, especially Regional Administrator Tony Robinson, who's been spending a lot of time with us over the last number of months, really over the last number of years, and also the coordinating officer, John Long, who's been with us day after day, not just with respect to this hurricane, but the previous hurricanes and also COVID-19. FEMA is the federal agency primarily responsible for the response to COVID-19, and I want to thank them for all of the assistance that we have been able to get from FEMA and all of our federal partners. Over the last couple of days, we've been surveying the damage caused by Hurricane Zeta and meeting with local elected officials. We were able to be in the area yesterday, and I want to thank President Cynthia Lee Shang for hosting us here today, but also for meeting with me yesterday and then traveling to Grand Isle, which is one of the most heavily impacted areas in the state with respect to the damage from Hurricane Zeta. I do want to remind everyone as we go about our recovery, our cleanup efforts, the fact that electricity is still out. It is not the hurricanes, it's not the storms that directly relate in the most serious injuries and the number of deaths that we typically experience. It's the cleanup activities. It's operating generators. It is not having respect for a down power line and understanding that you should always treat those power lines as if they're live. So we're going to encourage everybody to continue to exercise caution, especially with this cooler weather. You may run a generator in order to keep a heater going. Keep that heater at least 3 feet away from anything that's combustible. And please make sure the generator itself is at least 20 feet away from your house in a well-ventilated area, not underneath a window or a vent, not in a crawl space, garage, certainly not in your home. And then allow that generator at least 20 minutes to cool down before you refuel it. It's a great idea to have a working smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector in your home with fresh batteries, so please do that. And if you are out cleaning up, meaning you're going to be cutting trees and that sort of stuff, be very, very careful. We've had some traumatic injuries and deaths over the last couple of months from individuals who were out working on the roof, cutting trees and that sort of thing. We have had one death confirmed that was related to Hurricane Zeta. That was an electrocution in Orleans Parish a couple of days ago of a 55-year-old gentleman. The biggest impact from this storm was wind, and so there are damage to homes and to businesses and other structures, but the biggest damage has been to the electricity infrastructure across the southeast Louisiana. We still have a number of outages. The peak outages have been revised a little bit, so now they're saying the most outages at any one time was 519,000 in Louisiana. That number is down to 326,000 across southeast Louisiana currently. Here in Jefferson Parish, 72% still without electricity. The National Guard continues to work. I want to thank all of our soldiers and airmen. They have 1,930 guardsmen who are activated in support of operations related to Hurricane Zeta. CPRA continues to track 689 gates across the coastal region of our state, 192 of which remain closed. That's down from 319 yesterday. There are 23 roads still closed because of different problems, most likely down power lines. We encourage people before you travel, first of all, don't travel if you don't need to, but if you need to travel, please go to 511la.org for real-time information about road conditions and closures so that you don't get stranded or cause unnecessary issues. With respect to shelters, so we have 3 sets of hurricane evacuees that are sheltering in Louisiana simultaneously. There continue to be 3,051 from Hurricane Laura. 172 from Hurricane Delta, and then only 27 from Hurricane Zeta, and they are in 3 parish shelters. The remainder are in non-congregant shelters, principally in the New Orleans area, but there's one hotel in Baton Rouge and one in Lafayette that's providing shelters as well. I do want to remind everybody that we are in a COVID environment, and while we are very fortunate, and I say fortunate, I think it's because of the cooperation of so many people, Louisiana remains in a plateau of cases, and I think we're one of about 4 states in the country right now that don't have cases increasing, and our hospitalizations have been steady as well. But we do know that the country as a whole, and in fact the Northern Hemisphere, is in a 3rd surge or a 2nd wave. And so in order to make sure we do as best we can here with COVID-19, we continue to encourage everyone to wear your mask, social distance, at least 6 feet from people when you're not from the same immediate household, wash your hands frequently, and stay home when you're sick. And let's all do the best that we can to protect the most vulnerable among us, those 65 and older, and those with those comorbid health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, heart disease, and so forth. Today we are reporting 434 new cases on 11,874 new tests. The deaths today are 11, sadly, and we have gone over 5,700 deaths total now at 5,705. We don't have hospitalization numbers for you today. That's a function of the interrupted reporting process because of Hurricane Zeta. We still have about 18 hospitals out there on generator power, and about the same number of nursing homes as well. But we will get you the updated hospital numbers just as soon as we can, but I don't have those for you now. The last thing I'm going to report today before I yield the podium to Administrator Gaynor is that many of you are probably aware that Colonel Reeves, the Superintendent of State Police, is retiring today after 30 years of tremendous service to the state, 3 of which were as superintendent. Today I am pleased to announce that I've appointed Louisiana State Police Captain Lamar A. Davis as the next Deputy Secretary of Public Safety and Superintendent of Louisiana State Police. He is not with me today, and that's unfortunate. Captain Davis has had an exemplary career in law enforcement. I know that he's earned my respect and that of his colleagues, not just as state police officers, but in sheriff's offices and chiefs of police all across the state of Louisiana. And I'm confident that he's going to continue to lead the state police with the utmost professionalism and the highest standards. He obviously is accepting the position at a time when the state faces many challenges from hurricanes, from COVID-19, and so forth. He's a native of Baton Rouge. He's been with the state police since 1998. He is a member of the Army, a non-commissioned officer. He was a command sergeant major of a battalion in the Louisiana National Guard. He's been married to his lovely wife for 29 years, and they have 1 son. And so I'm very pleased to announce that he'll be our superintendent effective immediately. And so with that, I'm going to yield the podium to Administrator Gaynor. He'll be followed by President Cynthia Lee Shang, and then we will take your questions once they've both had an opportunity to deliver remarks.
Thank you, Governor. It's always good to be back in Louisiana, and thank you, President Lee Shang, for hosting us today, and Joe Valenta, the Parish, Jeff Parish OEP Director, for again hosting us on short notice today. We do appreciate that. Damage assessments, as indicated by the Governor for Zeta, are underway, but we ask that those Louisianans impacted by Zeta do a few things while those assessments are being conducted. First, call your insurance company. Make sure they know that you have damage. That's the first thing you need to do. Take photos of those things that are damaged. Document your property loss, things like model numbers, serial numbers, so you have a list of those things that may be eligible for reimbursement. And then save all your receipts. If you do those 4 things now, you'll be in a better position should the state apply for a major disaster and should the president declare that. But if you do those 4 things today, that will speed us along. I also want to thank the president for swift action. We've had a lot of action in Louisiana over the past couple of months. So everything from quick approval of emergency requests for pre-landfall declarations, major disaster declarations, and most recently, 100% cost share for Laura for that disaster. So again, we appreciate that, and I know the state looks forward to maximizing all those federal resources in aiding recovery. And lastly, I just want to echo what the governor said about safety. You can't say it enough. And first is generator safety. I've been out here a couple times over the past couple months after disasters. Lots of generators have been purchased. You can hear them running in neighborhoods, and so you really have to be careful. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer, and so all those things, like keeping it away from your residence 20 feet, you have to do all those things to keep you and your family safe. Downed power lines, lines tangled in trees. If there's a line on the ground, consider it live. Stay away from it. Again, don't put your life in jeopardy. And then lastly, check on those neighbors that may need some assistance, that maybe can't get out there or you haven't seen. Be a good neighbor and get out there and check on those neighbors. And then finally, again, can't say it enough, and everywhere I go, I want to echo these 4 things, and it's COVID safety. And I want to congratulate the governor for having low positivity in the nation. It's important. And so 4 things: wear a mask, socially distance, keep your hands clean, and stay out of crowded places. If you do those 4 things, you continue to flatten the curve, and it gets us, all of us, not just Louisianans, but the whole country, out of COVID-19 a little bit faster. And so with that, I just want to thank the governor again today and the team, General Wascom for being a great partner, and my FEMA rep, Tony Robinson, for, again, making it happen here in Louisiana. And like I tell the governor, we're here until recovery is done. And with that, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Governor. We certainly appreciate you bringing your team here to Jefferson Parish, and we really appreciate you allowing me to join you on the flight yesterday.